gas, plug-in hybrid, fully electric, and eventually hydrogen. What if one SUV offered all of it under one name, one shape, one badge? That is exactly what BMW just did with the all-new 5th generation X5. And before we get into horsepower numbers and pricing, because we will, all of it, I want to start with the one detail that made me stop scrolling when I first saw this car. It's not the engine. It's not even the electric range. It's something on the doors that BMW has never done before on any production car. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly which version of this SUV is actually worth your money. Look at the doors. Go ahead, look closely. Notice anything missing? There are no door handles. Not hidden ones, not flush ones, actually gone. BMW replaced them with small paddle-style openers built right into the pillars, something they're calling winglet handles. A light touch pops the door open. A press clicks it shut, and just holding the front edge for a second locks the whole car. It's a small thing, but it's the kind of small thing that tells you BMW wasn't just updating the X5. They were questioning every single part of it. And that same instinct shows up the moment you walk toward the car. The whole front end sits taller and more upright now, anchored by a new vertically stacked grille BMW calls Iconic Glow, which, as the name suggests, stays lit day and night. Next to it is a completely new lighting shape, the double X icon, folding your headlights, running lights, and turn signals into one sculpted piece. If you spring for the tech package, walking up to the car at night triggers something called the ceremonial light carpet, an actual animated light show projected onto the ground, not just a static strip like every other SUV does it. Even the wheels tell the same story. This is the first X5 ever offered with 23-inch wheels, if you want to go that big, across 11 exterior colors. Cool exterior, but honestly, the bigger surprise is what happens when you actually get inside. Open the door, no handle, remember. And this barely feels like the same nameplate. The dash is lower now, the seating position sits slightly higher, and there's a light strip running the full width of the cabin that doesn't just glow, it actually animates in sync with your drive mode. But the detail that's going to get talked about the most is the center console, because BMW used a material they've genuinely never touched before. Real slate stone. Not a texture that looks like slate, actual stone, laid across the console, controlling your parking brake, defrost, and hazards through touch. Go for the top interior package, and that slate gets paired with real glass on the gear selector. Seats range from a leather alternative called Veganza, all the way up to genuine merino leather in 5 finishes, including a rich, aged shade called Vintage Coffee that looks like something out of a much more expensive car. And the back seat actually earns that. The wheelbase grew by 2.4 inches, so rear passengers get real, noticeable extra knee room, not a marketing footnote. Here's a first for the X5 specifically, an optional passenger screen. A 14.6-inch touchscreen just for your front passenger, so they can stream a show or take a video call while you drive, and there's a camera watching to make sure that screen doesn't distract them or you at the wrong moment. And the voice assistant genuinely got smarter. BMW built its new system on top of Amazon's Alexa Plus technology, so instead of memorizing exact commands, you can actually just talk to it, normally, conversationally, and it understands you. Up to 7 people can log in with their own profile, and the car remembers each person's seat position, mirrors, and even greets them by name. All of that is genuinely impressive, but none of it is the actual headline of this launch. The headline is under the hood, or in one case, where the hood used to matter at all. This is the part that actually makes the 2027 X5 different from basically everything else in its class. BMW isn't picking a lane, they're giving you 5. Start with straight gas power, the X5 40 and 40 xDrive. Under the hood is an updated 3-liter turbocharged inline-6 with 48-volt mild hybrid assistance, now making 394 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque, up 19 horsepower from before. The xDrive version hits 60 in 5.1 seconds and tops out at an electronically limited 155 miles per hour. Want a plug-in hybrid instead? That's the X5 50e xDrive. Same 6-cylinder engine, now tuned to 308 horsepower, paired with a 194 horsepower electric motor built directly into the transmission. Combined output jumps to 483 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque, good for a genuinely quick 4.6-second sprint to 60. On a full charge, you get an estimated 44 miles of pure electric range, enough that most people's daily commute could realistically run on electricity alone, gas engine never even switching on. And then there's the one everyone's actually been waiting for BMW to build for years, the first fully electric X5 in the model's entire history. Let's talk about that one properly. Meet the iX560 xDrive. And this is where BMW clearly wanted to make a statement. 2 electric motors, one on each axle, combined for 570 horsepower and 593 pound-feet of torque, launching this 3-row luxury SUV to 60 miles per hour in an estimated 4.4 seconds. That's supercar territory in a family SUV with a battery big enough to matter. 144 kilowatt hours of usable energy, built on an 800-volt architecture, giving a preliminary estimated range of up to 435 miles. But here's the number that actually changes how you'd live with this car day to day. Charging. Peak DC charging hits 460 kilowatts, meaning a 10 to 80% charge takes about 22 minutes. Or in just 10 minutes at the right station, you can add roughly 170 miles back. And it's fully bidirectional, so it can power tools on a job site, back up your entire house during an outage, or charge another EV that's stranded on the road. All of that runs through something BMW calls the Heart of Joy, a dedicated control computer processing data up to 10 times faster than before, coordinating the motors, brakes, and steering in real time. One result of that system is something called soft stop. The car brings itself to a stop so smoothly using the electric motors alone that you barely notice it happening, saving your actual brakes for when you really need them. So, gas, hybrid, or full electric? Which one's actually the better drive? That comes down to more than just the engine. Underneath, every version gets a genuinely reworked chassis, wider track, stiffer body, adaptive suspension that adjusts each wheel independently as standard. Go for the optional air suspension, and the X5 can lower itself automatically at highway speed to cut wind resistance, or drop down when you're parking to make loading easier. And for the first time, it can start that lowering while you're still rolling to a stop, not just once you're parked. There's also active rear-wheel steering, turning up to 3.2 degrees to shrink the turning circle by about 2.5 feet. Genuinely useful in tight parking garages. And exclusively on the iX5, that same system now helps stabilize a trailer while you're towing, which is a first for this model. On the assistant side, the optional Highway Assistant allows genuine hands-free driving on suitable highways at up to 85 miles per hour, and it can change lanes around slower traffic on its own once you glance at the mirror to confirm. Impressive tech across the board. Now, the part that actually decides whether any of this ends up in your driveway. The X540 xDrive launches first, arriving in October, starting at $72,100. The rear-wheel drive X540 follows in early 2027 at $69,800. The plug-in hybrid X550e opens at $77,500, and the fully electric iX560 xDrive tops the current lineup at $79,800. All four at a $1,450 destination charge. A V8-powered M performance version is confirmed for later in 2027, and further out, BMW is bringing the iX5 Hydrogen, its first ever hydrogen production vehicle. Neither has final numbers yet, so we'll cover those the moment BMW releases them. Every single one of these is built at the same South Carolina plant that's assembled every X5 since 1999, and the iX5 specifically becomes the first fully electric BMW ever built on American soil. So back to that door handle. It's a small detail, but it's the same instinct that shows up everywhere else in this car. Real slate instead of fake texture. A voice assistant you can actually talk to. A light show instead of a static welcome strip. An electric motor smooth enough to replace your brakes. BMW didn't just update the X5's engine lineup, they questioned almost every assumption baked into the old one and rebuilt it. 5 different ways.
If I had to bet, the xDrive 50e plug-in hybrid is the smartest buy for most people. Real electric-only commuting, zero range anxiety on road trips. But if the iX5's charging numbers hold up once the real reviews land, that might be the one that actually changes what a family electric SUV is supposed to feel like. Which one would you actually park in your driveway? Gas, hybrid, or the fully electric iX5? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know, and I read every one. If this saved you from scrolling through a 40-page spec sheet yourself, hit subscribe. There's a lot more of these coming. See you in the next one.